Hello, welcome to the FutureDDS Dental School Experience Series, where we help you decide which dental school is right for you. Every school is unique and offer a different experience, so who better to explain this experience than a dental student at that school? Our goal is to give you a first-hand perspective of every dental school across America. Hopefully, this information will help you make the right decision on which school is best for you and along your journey into dental school. So today we will be showcasing Kara Topingan. I hope I said that right. Did I?
Yeah.
Okay, Kara Topingan. She's a fourth-year student at UTHSC San Antonio School of Dentistry. Just want to say welcome and thank you for joining us today. If you could really just, give a little bit about yourself, where you're from, where you're from and where you went to undergrad, just a little bit about your story into dentistry.
Sure. So I'm a fourth-year dental student at UTHSC San Antonio. I went to undergrad here in San Antonio at St. Mary's University. It's a really small kind of private school. And then I've actually been in Texas my whole life. So picking San Antonio really wasn't kind of too far of a stretch. We have three really good dental schools here in Texas. San Antonio, in my opinion, is the best. But yeah, that's kind of how I ended up here. So I've been in San Antonio for about 8 years now.
Oh, awesome. So could you tell us a little bit about your school? Obviously it's located in San Antonio, but how is that city and, how big is your class size? Yeah, just a little bit of background info on that.
So we are kind of an old program, but we have on average about 100 students per class. After our third year, we do get a flux of new students in. They're called our IDEP students, so international students that are wanting to become dentists in the United States. So we get about 20 of those. So at the end, we graduate with about 120. San Antonio is kind of a big city. It's like kind of central South Texas. We have about like 1.5 million people here. And the city is just very lively and cultural and very fun. I've been here for a really long time, so I obviously like the city. But the school is a really good program. We just got a brand new building about my first year, I think was the first year it came out. So it's only 4 years old. So we have like state-of-the-art equipment. It's really nice. We have a 4-story building that has every specialty, every residency in one building. So it's made clinic a really good experience. We've been able to kind of create a comprehensive treatment plan in one building. And so patients really like that. So I've been really fortunate to kind of get to use the new building.
Man, awesome. So I guess if you could remember back, how was your application process there? Like specifically the interview process, like how was it kind of set up? How was the interview day, if you can remember?
So, it was horribly stressful. So San Antonio was actually my first interview. It was really early on. Our application process is through TMDSAS, so Texas Medical Dental something. But it's kind of a standardized application. You apply to one and then it gets sent out to each school. And then you can kind of do secondary applications based on the school. But it's pretty standard. It has like qualifications for dental school, your GPA, extracurriculars, and then some essays. The day of my interview, it starts out really early. I remember it because I was on the interview committee last year, so I remember it from a perspective of interviewing, and I remember it as the interviewee. But it starts at like 8 a.m. You start out with kind of a briefing of the program. One of the deans kind of tells you about how the school is broken down. They even told us which percentage of students came from which school so that you kind of get the feeling of the student population. Then they break down tuition, and then I think you go ahead and eat lunch, and then nobody's able to eat because we're all super nervous. And then afterwards we have 2 interviews, a 30-minute interview with faculty and a 30-minute interview with a student, usually a 3rd or 4th year, and then, or vice versa. And then after that, they do a tour of the building.
Gotcha.
And so, yeah, I don't remember eating a lot. And I remember being super, super nervous the whole time and being like super sweaty. But I mean, overall, it was a good experience. It's pretty similar down the road with all the other schools I've interviewed at. The questions are pretty standard. But it was just a really good time to get to know the program, to see what they were looking for.
Gotcha. So, I guess how was the transition going into dental school? It wasn't really too much of a transition city-wise for you because you're from there, but how was it getting used to like the dental curriculum?
It was a huge transition. I think everyone who gets into dental school is fairly intelligent. I don't think anyone is able to get into the program at any school without being pretty much at the top of your class. I think dental school's gotten so competitive that I think once you get in, you've obviously proven your worth. So it's a huge kind of surprise going into a room of 100 of the best students that everyone is used to being the top of their class, and then all of a sudden being re-ranked and then being told that like some of y'all are gonna be in the bottom, some of y'all are gonna be in the top. And so I think that was a lot of kind of getting used to. But other than that, I think you're doubling the amount of hours you took in college. So 18 hours is a lot in college, but I think your first semester of dental school is like 33 to 35 hours of curriculum. And so it went from, casually going to lecture a few hours to now I'm in lecture from 8 a.m. till 5, and then I'm studying from 5 till midnight. Mm-hmm. So I think that was the hardest part. I do think first year for me was the hardest. Maybe curriculum was harder in second year, but after like first year, you just kind of get used to it. And so the transition isn't easy. I think you could ask any dental school's like family members and like they'll tell you that there's a huge shift in personality. Like I'm no longer fun. I'm no longer like free to do things. I'm just like this drone that doesn't want to say or talk to anyone. I just need to go home and like study.
Gotcha. So what does like a typical day look like for a first year student there? You said obviously you have a lot of coursework, but how is it 8 to 5? And do you start like clinic early? How is that? How's the standard day look?
So now the curriculum is different for San Antonio. I think we're the last class to be on the old standard curriculum, but for us, it was like 8 a.m. we were in lecture, and then we lectured till noon, broke for lunch at 1, and then on 2 days of the week we were in lab, so either like fixed lab, operative, or just regular waxing, but I think the 3 other days of the week, it was just more lecture.
Gotcha.
So like you've got to really be good at sitting in a room and listening to lecture, because that's just kind of what was going to happen. But now I think our new curriculum, they have way more experience in clinic than we ever did. So that's really good for them. But just for us, it was kind of really tough because I felt like we were in clinic or in lecture all day, and then third year happened, and then we got pushed into clinic and we didn't have as much experience. So then like the new classes will have more.
Gotcha. So for anyone looking to apply to UT San Antonio or UTH San Antonio, what would you suggest that they kind of focus on now in undergrad? Should they focus on like shadowing a lot more? Should they focus on like really concentrating on schoolwork, masters maybe? Like what should they focus on beforehand to put themselves in the best position?
So I think most of the dental schools are pretty standard. We're all looking for the same things. Like I think having a good GPA, obviously, having a good DAT score, showing that you have enough shadowing hours to know that dentistry is what you want to do is really important. And then like volunteering. I think it would be silly to say like focus on just shadowing, because if you just don't have the GPA, it's just a matter of they're just not going to look at your application. I'm not saying you have to have like the world's highest, but just know that what the averages are and make sure you're a competitive candidate. And then from there, I think once you cover all those bases, look at what makes each school kind of unique. San Antonio really kind of hones in on community service and being a service-based university. That's like really unique to our program. We do tons of externships and kind of rotations through Haven for Hope, South Texas, and making sure that we serve those communities. And so if that's something that you're passionate about, like go to a program that kind of gives you those opportunities. So know the unique aspects about the school, and then show that you know that during your interview, and show that you like genuinely care. Because I think that's the coolest thing about being on the other end of the interview process is I can like very much so see when someone doesn't actually know why they want to do dental school or doesn't actually know much about the program.
Gosh, okay. Great advice for anyone, especially trying to apply there. We all know, how hectic that schedule can be, especially transitioning into school. How is it managing work-life balance there? Like, does the school kind of help you? Is there things in the city that you kind of use as a release, or is it kind of, like how do you manage it?
Work-life balance. I would say I did not have a lot of that first, second year.
Okay.
It was just school. So my fiance and I got engaged first year of dental school, and he was long distance. So he was in PT school. I was in dental school. So it worked out. He was on externship in Dallas. And so for me, it worked out. So I didn't go out much. Like I went from being able to like go out a ton in college, being like I could focus a little bit, study here and there, and then all of a sudden it just wasn't enough in dental school. So there's definitely a sacrifice to be made. And I think anyone in any kind of grad program will tell you that. I mean, you're in your second year, so you're like feeling it. But I think it's just a matter of knowing what's important and knowing what you want to spend time on. So there's obviously not going to be time for school, like going out, friends, partying, traveling, family. Like you could maybe do it, but I think it's very important to be like, these are the top 2-3 things that are important to me, and these are the things I'm going to make time for. And if this is how I'm going to do it, then everything else is going to have to kind of take a back seat.
Okay. I understand that. Definitely got to make sacrifices. That's one of the keys, I'm sure, anywhere you go. So, yeah. So, for the most part, I know a lot of people that go to dental school don't necessarily look at research or, other things outside of being a dental clinician. So I guess how often do you see clinical experience early years? I know you said they switched the schedule up a little bit. Do you have a little bit of background about that?
So when we did it, like, I want to say we didn't really get any patient experience first year.
Mhm.
Oof, I don't know if I'm wrong. I don't think we did. And then second year, we maybe got a little bit. I did a summer selective called treatment planning right before third year, which was life-saving. That was a rotation where all we did for 2 weeks was screen patients and do limited exams, which was wonderful because I think half of getting used to clinic is just getting used to Axiom. I don't know what computer system y'all use, but we use Axiom. And it is not the most easy thing to understand. So on top of me finally having a live patient in my chair, I'm over here like, I can't start my computer. And so just having kind of like a test run in the summer was really nice, so that right when clinic started, it was just like a step ahead that I think I had. And so I think now it's becoming more required for the second years to do it. But it was new when I was going into clinic. But now they have way more. Like I have first and second years constantly rotating through. They're always assisting third and fourth years. And then now they actually have their own patients where they do screenings and head and neck exams. So that's really good for them. So I think even if I ask them, they say they're way more like ready for clinic than I felt like I was.
Got you. So what are some like really unique things about UT San Antonio that you would never change about your experience going to school there? Like what are some things that you really want to portray to other people that are looking at UT?
So, I mean, we have that beautiful shiny building. I am not overestimating when I say how gorgeous it is. It's beautiful. We have state of the art. We have like CBCTs, XDAV. We have implant placement from multiple departments. We have different residencies and like different specialists able to come and talk to our patient in our own chairs, which I think is really kind of up the game because I think that'll become standard of care. So the fact that we kind of are able to work with other specialties as like students is really cool. Sorry, I'm like so cold. But the other part about San Antonio that I think is really unique is our involvement in research, which we're really fortunate to have. We have state-of-the-art researchers and dentists and PhDs that are constantly putting out research. Our dental protocols in clinic, when it comes to just like normal isolation, pain protocol, like those are being changed every year based on research that's done by our school. And I think that that's really cool because I think the kind of the worst thing about dentistry that could happen is if people don't change or adapt because they don't bother to read literature. San Antonio is very literature based. And so if there is new literature to learn and read, we have it, we have the access to do that. And I think that it's great that our school really makes sure at every level that we are kind of evidence-based dentists and not just ones based on old tradition. And I think that really prepares us to be independent practitioners in the future.
Got you. Man, that was an awesome answer. Thank you. So just to wrap it up, what are some last words of advice that you would give to any viewer, specifically applying to, UTH San Antonio, but in general applying to dental school right now? Like, what are some gems you can give them?
I think, like, don't think that you can't get into dental school because you don't have the 3.8, that 23 DAT, and a million legacy dentists in your family. Like, I think that some of the best people in my class and some of the best clinicians are people that worked really hard and came into dentistry from a perspective that is unique. I mean, we have great people who came from dentists too, but like a lot of these people are older. They had different careers. I didn't go into college thinking I wanted to be a dentist. My dad's a physician, so that's what I thought I wanted to do. But I think that's what makes San Antonio, or really any dental school, unique. So every candidate is different. Every kind of admission committee knows that, and to make a good class requires bringing in people of like all different backgrounds, all different cultures. And so if there's something unique to you, make it unique. So make it known. When you interview, make sure that there's something about you that makes me want to remember you, because at the end of the day, like, I'm interviewing every Monday for like 16 Mondays, and then faculty are interviewing twice as many. And so if there's nothing about you that you think that guy's going to remember, even if you're like, oh, that's like the surfboarding guy, or that's the cheeseburger guy, anything that makes you different, like, definitely hang on to it and show that this is what you want to do. Because dentistry and dental school, I'm sure even you could say, is not easy. There's, like, some people will say, like, just do it for the money. My God, there's no amount of money in the world. After being through it like 4 years, there was no way that someone could have told me to just sacrifice it so I could make the money now. Like, you have to be passionate about it. You have to love it. And you don't have to know that going into it, because no one really does. I think you have an inkling you want to do it. And then, thank God, the majority of us go through dental school and they're like, oh, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, really make sure it's what you want to do, because this is your career and you'll be treating people, and so you owe it to your future patients and you owe it to yourself to find a career that you love. And if I think you are honest about it, then it shows in your interview, it shows in your essays, and it'll show in like you as a dentist. So just be honest, be yourself, and like work really hard, and make sure that if there's any point that you feel like is a weakness on your application, either be ready to defend it or be ready to make it better.
Man,
I think that's it.
awesome. Man, those are some great gems. I couldn't, say it any better myself. Definitely, like, if anything, show your uniqueness, and that's something that will go a long way. We're gonna wrap it up now, but I just want to, give you the opportunity to, if anybody could ask you any questions, or if anyone has any questions for you regarding your journey or your school or anything, could they get in touch with you through your social media or email?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and give him my social media handle or my email, and you guys can reach out to me. I have no problem answering your questions. Everyone's been there. Every single dentist school, like, student remembers what it was like having a million questions. So I have no problem helping out.
Got you. So I'll make sure I put that down in the description, as well as a link to their admissions page so that you can check out a little bit more information on UTH San Antonio. But on behalf of, FutureDDS and all of our subscribers, we just want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule, giving us, that great insight, those gems into your school and your experience so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for taking the time in second year to do this. I'm vacationing now until graduation.
I'm about to go get to the studying right after this,
Awesome.
honestly. But yeah, best of luck with you, with your job interviews and everything. And, for everyone watching, if you haven't already, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell so you know whenever we post up new content, as well as more videos on hopefully a school that you choose in the future. But thank you so much. See you guys next time.